Hello and welcome. This is Christian from Vision 6D. I'm going to introduce you to MS Project today. So here you see that I've started MS Project and we are here in the back office. The back office you see with open, you can open a file. Here are a number of files that I had already worked on. Now what we are going to do, we go into new and we start a blank project. With this, we have opened the Gantt chart view in which, like for all views, you will see here there is a table part. Here on the right, there is a graphical part. On top of that, we have the ribbon, which is here. And on the ribbon, we can select tasks, resources, report, project, and views. Here down is the timeline, which is something really practical and something really interesting to give an overview, a general overview of the project. Before we do anything further in this project, we'll go back to the back office. There are options that we need to set that will highly influence our project. We go into schedule and you see here we have the hour per day. I prefer to work with 8 hours a day and to have a week of 40 hours. This can be adapted to your local way to do it. So once this is done, you know that it will be available for all the project. If you don't do the changes at the beginning of a project, it's really difficult to come back and to have MS Project take into account your changes here. So the other thing I want to show you how to change are the currency. Here the currency are defined as US dollars. We can go here up and select any currency we want. I will select euros. Now I click OK. And those things you see no differences here on the project, but as I will say it again, it's really important. So now we are ready here to insert some tasks into this project. So the first thing I will do is to name the project my project. And then into that project there is a first phase that I call initiation. It's the time when I have the idea about the project. It's then that I plan the project, I prepare a project proposal, and usually I get a project approval. This is what I call here the first stage of my project. Once I'm there, I'm entering what I call conception. Into conception, I do usually what I call design. To be clear, I first have during initiation the idea, I prepare the project proposal, I get approved. Then I do some conception by designing what I want to do. Is it a house? Then it's designing, renovation, it's the design of the renovation and choices. Is it software development? It's the design of the software. After that, I have a phase when I do the realization, or you can name it execution, or even integration. In there, I do the development or the build if it's a construction, and then after there will be some time when there will be some integration for systems, for software, or you have to put all the things together, and after there will be some tests or validation of the work that has been done. Once this is over, this is the end of the realization, so we are able to deliver. We deliver the product, we deliver the service. Once this is done, we are at the end of a project. It's a good habit to include a closing task where you summarize what happened during the project. We see now all the tasks that will be into this project. You see one thing, we have at the top my project. So what I want to do is to say that all those tasks here down, they depend on my project or they constitute my project. To do that, I will indent them, that is to say, I will move them to the right. I have here the possibility with this button, which is Indent task, to do it. So I act it, and you see that all the tasks were shifted, and now they all have a dependency with my project. They are included into my project. So we have also other tasks that are composing a summarizing one. It's here, from project proposal to plan. All these are parts of initiation. So I do exactly the same as what we did till now. And as well, here below, for the conception, there is the design where I move it also. I ident it also. And here down, we have 3 tasks which are part of realization and execution. So I indent them once again. We have a hierarchical organization of our project. Now we are going to give some time and duration to those tasks. So to plan the project, I will say here it's a question of 1 week. The project proposal itself, let's say it's a question of 2 weeks. Project approval will be 0 day. The design itself will put it to 3 weeks. The development and build will put this to 4 weeks. Integration will set it to 2 weeks. And tests will put 3 weeks. Delivering is 0 day, and closing is just a meeting, so it's 0 day too. With this, I've given here informations as the duration of the project and the different tasks. As you can see here on the diagram part, all those tasks have come as bars in light blue with their duration shown up. So now we need to organize those tasks, and for that, as you can see, we can say that all those tasks here are simply sequential, meaning that one needs to start, and when the first one is finished, then the second one goes on. For that, I have here the possibility to link the selected tasks, which I will do. You see that they came one after the other one. You notice that here the symbol which is here is showing just like a milestone. It means that there isn't work duration, it's just one thing which is done at one point. I will do the same with the rest of the tasks, which I will all define as being sequential too. As you see, we can move here and go further to see the tasks where they are. There is also the possibility here to zoom in. So I will zoom out a bit in order to show us the complete project. As you see, there are some anomalies here, meaning that we have sequential tasks here, but that one is no more sequential to the previous ones, and so on here. So how am I going to change that? For this, I will a bit enlarge here, that I have another column that can appear, and this is showing us the predecessors. You see that once we did with the sequential button, the numbers of the predecessors were directly keyed in. So to give you an example now, what we have to correct. In order to go and do the design, I need to have the project approval. Project approval has as task number the number 5, which is here. So I will, for design, say here in the predecessors that its predecessor is the number 5. And you see that it corresponds to what we expected. So here down, the development and build can only start if the design is finished. The design is task number 7. So I will go here and say that its predecessor is the number 7. We see now those tasks scheduled one after the other one. We see here the delivery date, which is a bit strange. You see, so something went wrong. So we need to correct this by hand. So the delivery will follow test and validation. So it means its predecessor, which is defined here, is in fact number 11. So you see that I've keyed those things in, but there are still things that appear to be a bit strange. So we need here to correct certain things. You see that tasks here, there is what we call the task mode. It can either be manual or automatically scheduled. By default, it's set to manual, and I will recommend that we put it on auto schedule. While I'm doing that, you see that the colors here are changing. From that emerald color, it's going to a light blue. With this, you can recognize which one of the tasks are auto-scheduled and which one are manually scheduled. So I will continue this now, and you will see that slowly everything will take its place. We decrease a bit the view we have, and we see our complete project now scheduled with all elements being sequential here. As we see, we have our project here. So I will slightly increase because I would like to change the start date of the project. You see, it's more or less starting around the 6th of November. What if we want this to start by, let's say, the 15th of November? In order to do that, we go into project, and here you can see that we can have here the possibility to move the project, to adjust the start and finish date. So I will click on this. I will insert a new start date being the 21st of November. So as soon as I do that, you will see that the complete project has been moved. And this is softly moved because we have all our tasks defined as automatically scheduled. We need now to add some people to our project. For that, I will go back now to the Gantt chart, and here you see that on that arrow here down, I can click on it and I have other possible views. So the one I want to work with is the resource sheet, in which I will be able here to define people and other resources that will be into this project. So the first one that I want to select is PM1, the project manager one. Then I add an engineer that I call engineer 1. I will also add an engineer 2. And for the tests, I will need a test user 1. As you see, those resources have standard rates here that we'll see a bit later on how to change them. And these are the people that are defined to work on the project. So now I will do the attribution of the resources to the project. So I go back to the Gantt chart and I will open here again a bit more. And you see here there is the column with resource names. So we will see here at the planning of the project, I will say that it is the project manager 1 plus engineer 1 that work on that task. Project proposal will be made by the project manager, and project approval, this I won't define anything. The design itself will be made by engineer 1 with engineer 2. It's always good when people talk together, and as well as the development will be made by the 2 engineers, and also the 2 here will be in charge of the integration. The test I will set as tests the engineer 1, engineer 2, and the test user. So with this, I have attributed resources to this project. During the same time, you can see that on the Gantt chart, you see the names of the resources in regard to the tasks they are going to work on. We are now going to choose another view, which is the resource sheet. And we are here, as you see, we've defined those resources, and here they can have hourly rates. So I'm going to key in some value. For the project manager, I put 150, and for the 3 others, I will put 100. So with that, we've defined an hour rate for all the workers we have onto this project. So now I go back to the Gantt chart, and nothing really changed here on the Gantt chart. What's happening? I'm going to add here a column. I'm going to insert the column cost. And as you can see, almost like a magic, costs have been calculated. It means that it has calculated for each resource the duration multiplied by the hour rate and summed it up. So it means that for 1 week of plan, with the 2 resources which are Engineer 1 and PM 1, the cost of this task is 10,000 euros. Since we have organized the project with hierarchies, you see that the first task, my project, which you didn't give any resources, is simply here summarizing the cost of all the project. If we look at different stages, for example, initiation, if you sum up the project proposal plus the plan, you get those 22,000. So it means that those other tasks are what we call summarizing tasks. So the summarizing task I'm enlightening now is realization, execution, integration. It is composed of test, integration, development or build, and each of the tasks has its price or cost, which is defined here. The total cost of this stage of the project is 84,000 euros. So far, we have now costs of the project that are defined, and we have a plan to see how time-wise it's going to happen. We can already benefit from what we've done so far by going here up into report, and we see here that there are dashboards. First of all, you can have an idea of the cost overview. You see here the total cost of the project, and you see how it will be spent time-wise. Another view that is interesting also as a report into the dashboard is the work overview. You see that here the work is going down, and if here I enlarge a bit those things, you can see here the number of hours that will be worked into the project. And here down you see the involved resources. In other videos we discuss a bit more those different aspects of reports. Let's now go back to the Gantt chart. And as I said, we are now ready. So what we are going to do is to take a picture of this project. It is what we call a baseline. We are going to take a reference of this project. So to do this, I went to project, and here I go to set the baseline, and I'm going to set here a reference, a baseline. So simply say here, OK. And now the effect of the baseline, we will show the first baseline here. And you see that our project on the Gantt chart view here have been added gray bars, which are really the reference of the project. It means it's how normally we've expected the project to be going through. Let's now admit that the project has started, that we are really working onto this project, and that we are going to do the tracking. First of all, let's admit that the planning sessions have been done and the plan is done. So I go back here up, you see to tasks, and I've selected the task, and here I can say that this task is 100% completed. You see that here came a darker bar inside showing that this task is completed. I will do the same for the next task here, project proposal. Let's admit that the same happened, that it was also completed. I will show it in a different way so we can go through information about the task here. And you see here that we have % complete. So this is more precise. I could put 100%, this is what I want to do, but if you wanted to put 75%, that's the place to do it. Okay, and you see the same happen, there is a darker bar inside. Project approval here, I will say the same, it is accomplished. So the project has been approved. You see here that every task that is completely done is ticked as okay. So now we are going to go into the design. It should finish by the 30th December here. So we are going to position our project at that date. For this, I go here into project and I set the status date here on the 30th. Okay, this is just a positioning. And now I'm going to say that this task has been completed only to 50%. So for that, I enter here and I select 50%. And you see that we have just done one part of the task so far. We are going to use another chart, which is the tracking Gantt. And you see here that interesting things are happening. You see that here we find back our gray bars and blue bars. The grays are the baseline, and this says this is how the project was defined. Here we start to have pink lines and red ones. This is showing you that you are on the critical path. Those ones are blue because they are already completed, and completed tasks cannot stand on the critical path. There is an additional video about the critical path which you can follow if you want to have more details about this case. So as we see, the design is not going exactly as planned. Let's admit here that instead of taking 3 weeks, it would take 4 weeks. And we see here on the tracking Gantt that it is showing us a delay that is here inserted. It's the additional 1 week. And you see that you have a new calculation of the percent that was completed. If I move here, you see that all the tasks have been moved. And interestingly, at the end, you see also here new dates for deliveries. With this, I think that I've given you information how to set your project in place, how to do cost calculations, how to do a baseline, and also now how to do some tracking of your project. There are additional videos that go into more details about those different subjects. Now it's your time to do your tests. You liked the video, you can thumb up. You can subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you soon and I wish you a good time. Bye!